Text: what to do with your main body of information. There is only one thing you really know about a character: you are to act, and that is what you say. All the rest is flummery and guesswork, including sometimes what the author says about the part. The audience will hear what you say, so if the character is rooted elsewhere than in the text, the audience will see and appreciate one character, while hearing a different one in the words. If you create your character from the text, then by definition when you say those words, you will be believable. Authors spend a lot of time creating their characters, and they have learned that not all actors will read stage instructions, or even be guided by them. So they agonize over each word, making sure it drives the character on and creates the part that they have conjured out of their imagination. For the actor and director then to spend hours, days even, working on anything, but that text does seem to be a little perverse, when the beautiful words and ideas are already there on the page, just waiting to be lifted off and used. Authors do not always know the best way for their work to be performed. There is a famous tale of Arthur Miller, after rehearsal, congratulating one of the actors in his play All My Sons for completely capturing the character and thoughts of the part he had written. When Mr. Miller then discovered that the actor was, in fact, not having the thoughts the writer had assumed he was having, they had an argument that led to the performances never being so good again. Now, which was correct, the performance that the author enjoyed or the presumed thoughts that the author had written? An author's craft is different from that of an actor, and each should be respected for the contribution that it brings. Some teachers and directors recommend that you go through the play and write down everything anyone says about your character. This is to help you build up a fuller picture, but it does have some drawbacks. Suppose the other characters are lying, exaggerating, or imagining what they see in you. In real life, people talk about you behind your back, but if you were to find out exactly what they say, would you change your personality to fit that description? We are sure your answer is definitely not. No, the only safe guide to your character in a play is what you say and do. Therefore, you should look very carefully at your own lines, not just to learn them, but also to wonder what sort of character would choose those particular words and phrases. Your job is to create the kind of person who wants and needs to say those lines. Do not try to imagine what you would do in a given situation, but try to portray the person who would say those lines at that time. In other words, if you start with the lines, then that character in that situation will be totally believable. There are, of course, good plays and bad plays, good writers and bad writers. Everyone has suffered the perils of bad dialogue. You might feel very strongly that your character simply would not say that line or phrase. Tell the director how you feel, to get his help in either adjusting your performance or adjusting the line. This particularly applies to screen work, where the speed of production often means that the actors have to adjust their lines to suit their already established characters. If the script seems rather serious, read it again, looking for the jokes. If it seems a bit bland, read it again, looking for the gear changes. If you think there is nothing much there, challenge yourself to find why this script or play is still being done, or why the producer is so keen to present it now. It is always a good idea to look at another copy of the text. Very often, the version of a play published by the author can vary in interesting ways from that published as a record of what the Broadway show consisted of. There is the famous case of the extra scene in Arthur Miller's The Crucible, which does not appear in all versions of the play, but can give you added information and insight even if your production is not using it. Also, in many cases the stage instructions in your script are those added by the stage manager of the Broadway or West End run that were then printed as the acting edition, and are not necessarily those of the author. Check up and see, it can be a great help. Be particularly careful to see an alternative version if you are doing a script that has been translated from another language. Translators often give themselves huge leeway to change the play, in addition to just putting the words into English, and a different translation can help you understand your character better.